Aloha and welcome to Transform Hawaii Government's Digital Talk Story. I'm Christine Sakuda, the Executive Director of Transform Hawaii Government, and it's our pleasure today to have Chair Sylvia Luke with us and to just share her perspectives on what's been going on. And so thank you, Chair Luke, for joining us today.
Thanks, Christine, for having me. It's always a great opportunity to be talking about this subject.
Thank you. And as we've discussed, this is a 10-minute video, so the time passes very, very quickly. And we want to provide the community an opportunity to really hear your perspectives on what has been going on this past year in the legislative session and how can technology really be used to deliver government services to the community. And so I will start by asking the first question, and that is that how has COVID-19 impacted the delivery of government services over the last year?
I think COVID has really highlighted the need for more modernization and technology improvement. Just kind of as an example, look at our unemployment system. Before COVID hit, we were already looking at improving our unemployment system. But what turned out to be, at an average about 2,000 to 4,000 unemployment ended up as 200,000 claims being filed, and the overload on that mainframe and the system really highlighted the need for technological improvements.
Yes, thank you. And I know that the funding from the legislature, thank you, and DLIR, the Department of Labor and Industrial Relations that manages the unemployment insurance systems, has been working really hard to meet all of the demand. And in your opinion, what are some of the lessons learned that you've observed from the experience of handling just a large amount of unemployment insurance applications?
So early on, a bunch of legislators, including myself, volunteered at the unemployment office. And in order to just log on, it was a various DOS functions. And so you had to learn all kinds of keywords, and it was really clunky. And it took about an hour for me to just even log on. And can you imagine in the young people out there and high schoolers, and even, my son who's in college, they could never even fathom a concept where logging on is just not as easy as just putting your logon name and password. And this was the kind of antiquated system we were working with. And so that delays a lot of the processing and claims being expedited. And thanks to DLIR and the help of other departments, we are modernizing many of our IT system. And thanks to Christine and your organization, you've been really bird dogging a lot of these efforts. So it's really with your help as well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for that, Chair Luke. And Transform Hawaii Government is really excited to be a part of the modernizing of government systems and technology, and we've been advocating for that for a long time. And fortunately, one of the opportunities that came out of the pandemic is just a greater appreciation of how technology can really help deliver government services more efficiently and more effectively. And given your position with the legislature and awareness of all of these federal funds that are coming down into the state, what are there certain priorities that are surfacing for you in terms of how can we leverage this opportunity of having all of these, federal stimulus and recovery funds coming in to really build up IT infrastructure, such as the unemployment insurance application?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Even about a couple of years ago, when people talked about broadband, our eyes would glaze over and we have no idea what broadband need is. And, people kind of look at broadband issue as something of a wish list, something great to have, but something that is not needed right now. Boy, COVID has really changed that mentality. And when you look at what's really needed now, people are working from home, people have an opportunity to work here, and they work and they live here. At the same time, they're living, on the mainland or internationally. And look at all the distance learning that's going on. And we have issues with connectivity. We have issues with access. Broadband has never risen to this level as it has post-COVID. Thankfully, the federal government has also prioritized broadband, and the next round of infrastructure or federal relief funds, they are setting aside a large portion of that funding for broadband. We're lucky to be living on Oahu, but 2 years ago, as you know, in October of 2019, Kauai lost all internet and connectivity for 1 day. And, people might think, oh, 1 day, it's not too bad. But just think about how many times you get on the phone or how many times you check an Instagram site or Facebook. And you can't even imagine not having been to call out somebody or connect on the internet or just browsing on social media. Kauai was actually without power for 1 whole day. If you can imagine, that's what broadband means, and we have to ensure that the connectivity and access is available, not just for certain population, but for all population.
Yes, absolutely. And I have been fortunate enough to co-chair the broadband hui with Bert Lam, who's with the Department of Business, Economic Development and Tourism, and also co-chair it with Jeannie Skog with the Economic Development Alliance of Hawaii. And every week we have calls that have 60 to 80 people that come from all aspects of broadband, really just trying to reach out to their fellow community members and try to help solve the many challenges related to broadband and internet access. And so thankfully, with the state support and getting those funds to the right places, hopefully we'll really be able to address some of those issues moving forward. So thank you for that. As we look towards the 2022 legislative session, and given the experience that we've had with COVID and continue to have, are there certain things, Chair Luke, that are surfacing as priorities that you would like to share with the THG coalition that, some things for us to keep our eye on or support in terms of government IT infrastructure?
Yeah, absolutely. The mainframe system is being replaced, and DAGS is working really hard to replace what's known as the famous system. We have the payroll system, but monitoring and making sure that the famous system is built, or the new mainframe system is built, not just for the benefit of government officials and people who are watching how taxpayers' monies are spent, but it's really important, especially for the Transformation Hawaii group and other folks who are interested in IT improvement, to make sure that this will lead to better transparency, better accountability, and better access. The other thing that we need to really focus on is, if we want to do broadband expansion, we really need to start looking, or really need to engage what is the need for a carrier neutral landing site. Right now, because of the system the way it is, Hawaiian Telecom, Spectrum, and Charter really manage many of our access in order to increase competition and also allow them to be better partners within the state. We have to invest a large amount for a carrier neutral landing site.
And are those the investments will continue into the 2022 legislative session, so we'll be sure to keep an eye out for that. And we definitely identify with the priority of and the need for a new financial management system, and Transform Hawaii Government has been a long-term advocate of that. And we just received the ETS newsletter, and they announced the vendor of choice. And so I was really excited that they hit one milestone, and one of many milestones to come regarding implementing an enterprise financial system. And so we look forward to supporting that in the future. Our 10 minutes is coming up very quickly, and thank you, Chair Luke, for your time today. I just wanted to wrap up with the one last question that I have, which is, hopefully you have had time over the summer, some downtime to just relax from a busy legislative session and busy work. And what do you like to do for fun in your downtime when you do have it?
So my son is off to college now. And so now we have a lot of time to spend with our dog, and he's half Frenchie and half Boston, and he has the energy of a Boston, but the nature of a Frenchie. So we can walk, he loves to walk, and then we can go on long walks, but once he decides he's had enough, he'll plop down on all fours and refuse, and then I have to carry him, or my husband has to carry him the rest of the way, and we look pretty silly walking around with our dog who just refuses to walk. But I figure that's better than dragging him on a leash. And then but I think that's kind of, for every dog owner and dog lover out there, that's a full-time job in itself, and you can't give enough love and attention to your dog.
Yes, and they give us so much love in return. And hopefully, as we head into cooler months, your dog will be able to walk further distances with you. So thank you very much, Chair Luke, for your time today and for joining us on Digital Talk Story.
Thank you, Christine.